Hello everybody. For today's lesson, we're going to be discussing how to put a reed on your instrument properly. We're going to need a couple of different pieces from our instrument for this. We need our mouthpiece, our barrel, our ligature, that's the metal piece, and our reed. I have here the reed and the reed case. So most of you will see that your reeds are in their case. They're probably in their plastic too. What I want you to do now is to open up that plastic and pull the reed out carefully, and then place the reed on your tongue so that it will start to get moist. So you should look like that while I'm doing the video. I can't do that along with you because I need to talk and show you how the rest of this works. So just pretend I have a reed in my mouth while I'm doing this. Okay, we're going to get our barrel and our mouthpiece together. And then we're going to stick our ligature on the end. We want to make sure the screws face off to the right. If your screws are not facing off to the right, your ligature is going to do that, and it won't fit all the way down. So make sure your screws are off to your right. And now we have our reed, and I'm going to show you how to put this on here. So we want to push the ligature up the mouthpiece with our thumb, and then we want to slide the reed under the ligature. Got that? So we push the ligature up, and then we slide the flat part of the reed. Make sure it's the flat part is facing down towards the instrument. Slide that down underneath the ligature. And then once the reed is underneath, we can pull that ligature down. Okay. So I'm going to show you the reed closely, and hopefully we can see those parts there. In this section here, you can see that the reed has been cut and shaped. We're going to want that part all the way by itself. We want the ligature to rest on these two parts in between these two uncut parts of the reed. So I'm going to slide that on there again. We're going to make our ligature go in between those two spots. Okay, before we tighten our screws, we want to make sure that the reed is in the right position. So things we're going to be looking for is it straight? It's pretty straight. Okay, can you see the tip of the reed over the mouthpiece? And if you can, it's probably just a little bit too high. Mine is a little too high, so now I need to bring that reed down just a little bit until the reed tip and the mouthpiece tip are at basically the same height. That may take a little adjusting back and forth, but hopefully you get there. That's better. I can see just a tip of it. That's okay. Now the next thing we want to look at is the straight. It's straight. Now we want to make sure that it's below that cut part of the ligature, and just a little bit of that wood is underneath. So now we're going to tighten those screws, and we only need to tighten them until we start to feel a little bit of resistance, or it starts to get a little bit harder to tighten. We don't need to keep going after it gets to that point. As soon as it gets harder to tighten, stop. So we don't want to break our screws or the ligature or the reed. Okay, this is now in the correct position. So now I'm going to put the reed on incorrectly and see if you can identify why the reed is incorrectly placed. So I'm going to pause it, get it ready, and I'll be back with you. This is the most common mistake that I see when people are putting their reeds on their instrument. The ligature, as you can see, is much too high up the reed. It's too far up this way. You need to bring it down until it's halfway in between those cut points, or just a little bit of the wood down here is showing. So this is mistake number one. If you're doing this, your clarinet's going to have a hard time playing because the ligature will keep the reed from moving because it's up too high. Okay, I'm going to pause it again and do another common mistake and see if you can pick out what that one is. Okay, here's the next most common mistake. You can see here the side of the mouthpiece is not covered by the reed. We're having a leak there. We need to make sure that that hole is completely covered by the reed. And it also went up a little bit too high while I was making that happen, and the reed crept over the top. So we'll adjust that a little bit. And now we're in a good position. So I'll pause it again and show you the third common way that people make a mistake when they're putting on the reed. Okay, so here you can see that I have the reed on there. There's only a little bit of wood below the metal ligature. But if you look at the top on the other side, there's a whole bunch of reed poking out the top. That'll also give you problems in your playing. So remember that it needs to be at the same height as the top, and that it needs to be straight left and right. That the ligature should only be showing just a little bit of wood coming out the bottom. If it's too high, it's not going to work. If it's off to a side, it's not going to work. If it's too high, it's not going to work. So that is how to put together the reed on the mouthpiece. And now I'd like to show you how to take it apart. So when we're taking it apart, first thing we want to do is slide that reed off with our thumb and put it on our tongue. That keeps it safe while we're doing the rest. Another alternative to that is if you have your reed case, you can take that reed off first and then just slip it into your case. And that way you know it's going to be safe. Okay, before we go farther, I want to reinforce why we're sliding the reed underneath the ligature. So wood is soft, metal is harder. If we had our reed on first and we're putting this down, there's a good chance that you can chip the reed if the reed is on first and then we put that down. So make sure the ligature is on first, slide it up, then put the reed in. So yeah, glad we clarified that. It'll save you some money in reeds in the long run. We've got our reed away in the case. You'll notice the flat side of your reed will go against the flat side of the case. There are little bars on the inside of your reed cases which shows which side the cut side goes on. We slide it in there carefully, and then we can just pull these parts apart and we're done. That is how you put your reed on and some of the common mistakes that happen. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you next time. Bye.